Okay, so for the new stuff that I've added in, I'll show some of the new Kismet that I've set up for that. Um, the extra stuff or the new stuff I've got in the scene. I'm just using 3 spawn points now for spawning projectiles for the attacks. Like I've mentioned previously, I decided that I am gonna spawn into 3 different directions to get a little bit wider range when you attack. So not just the guy directly in front of you actually gets hurt by the attack. Some people off to the sides can also get hurt. So that's what these guys do. So previously I only had this one projectile, and then it goes through the rest of the motions. Now it just goes through and it shoots out 3 projectiles, one straight forward, one 40 degrees to the left, and one 40 degrees to the right. And that's pretty much it. It's for the punch and for the kick. So I've I spawned the projectile just from slightly behind the character, so the corner isn't so tight that the front character always gets hit by 3 projectiles. So yeah, that's a little bit of a random thing. Sometimes one character will get hit by more than one projectile, so he gets killed a little faster or whatever. Sometimes guy doesn't get killed as quickly, but again, that's something I'm not 100% sure of a solution there to get something more consistent, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, I might just leave it alone. um, okay, so for the enemy stuff, like I've also mentioned before, the enemies are kind of hard to track when you use crowd spawners. So what I ended up doing for that, to control that a little bit, is, and to be able to spawn the ragdolls and stuff, you actually need very precise control over who you killed and where to spawn the ragdoll at that point. So what I had to end up doing was this, which is this event is obviously a specific crowd event, which is in the event crowd agent reached. So as soon as the enemy reaches the player character, which has one of these crowd nodes on it, this event gets triggered, and it'll get triggered over and over and over as the enemy is in range. So in that case, I put a re-trigger delay to 0.5, just so it doesn't kill the Kismet. Because if you just have 0 on that, it's just gonna pretty much kill Kismet. So yeah, have that. And then what I also realized that I needed was an object list, because this gets triggered over and over and over and over, and it pretty much never stops as long as the enemy is in range. Anything you try and do after that with that enemy becomes a problem. So what happened was I would have that run into the attach event for checking if the enemy is destroyed, and then spawn a ragdoll. So it actually spawns 3 or 4 ragdolls, however many times it's able to trigger that within that time period, and that's obviously no good. So the best solution I could come up with for that is an object list. So as the enemy reaches the player, he gets put into this object list, And actually that's a check. So he gets put into the list if he's not already in the list. So this first node here is simply a check to see is the guy already in the list. If not, put him into the list. So you don't also, again, try and put stuff over and over and over into the list. It just happens once per enemy, and that's the end of it. So he's in the list, and then do a check again um, to see if the guy is in fact in the list before going into the actual destroyed event. So it's a double check to 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 be certain that you deal with one enemy at a time, and one event happens at a time. And that's pretty much the cleanest way I can deal with that. And in theory, the objects in this list here can be used for other stuff as well, to count. If I want to count, like before, I had a thing that counts up to 10 enemies, or however many you want to have to kill in the level before you end the level. And I'll be able to use this to count as well, and things like that. And that's pretty much it. So this checks if the enemy is destroyed. When you add this event, it'll be player only, and max trigger count will be 1. So you just need to make sure of that. So it's 0 and not player only, otherwise it'll never run. Spawn the ragdoll, and on this one I also have a rigid body force attached to the character, and I just use that. When you hit the Kai, you hit him backwards, so he doesn't just fall down on his knees right in front of you. He kind of gets pushed back a little bit. So that's all that does. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for that. And I think I'll jump over to the next video and just explain a little bit about the enemies. How I got them to also hit you, even though currently they don't actually damage you. They do go into a hit state or an attack state, and play the animation and do all that. So over to the next video.